This is the SS5160 or SS5160T. These are 20-inch, 16-gallon floor scrubbers. You can get this in pad assist or traction drive. The difference between those two is the traction drive has a drive motor. The pad assist, the brush or the pad driver, propels the machine for the operator. Controls on either machine. This particular machine is transport drive, so you're going to notice the tortoise in the hair because the transport drive machine has a drive motor. If you purchased a pad assist machine, this particular area will not be there. So when you turn the key on, you're going to get a few things here. You're going to get your battery meter. So obviously when it's high, it's full charge. When it gets lower, that's when you need to consider charging it. You have your hour meter here. Again, if this is traction drive, you have your speed control dial. And then these buttons down here, you have a button that will automatically remove the pad driver or brush. You can turn the vacuum fan on and off. And then you can also install the pad or brush. You also have the ability to adjust the amount of water you want to output depending on the cleaning application. So when it's low, you're putting out the least amount of water. When it's high, you're doing maximum output of water. Back here on the handle, these two buttons here essentially control the deck. So when you squeeze this, if you have a pad assist machine, it's just going to spin the brush or the pad driver. But as you just noticed, the machine propelled on its own. Since this is a traction drive, this actually controls the speed of the machine. If you need to go in reverse, you hold the reverse button down, push this, and it comes backwards. Again, that is not an option on the pad assist because the pad assist do not have drive motors. This is how you put the pad driver or brush on your machine. Slide this underneath here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure it's, the pad driver or brush is somewhat underneath the deck. When you get it underneath the deck, you're going to take the foot pedal here below. You're going to push down and to the right. Now you can see at the deck, the pad driver is now tucked underneath the scrub deck. But that doesn't mean that that's actually attached because you have to attach it this way. So if you have a traction drive machine, we suggest you turn this all the way down to the tortoise and shut the water off. And then what you'll do here is you'll hit this button, push the toggle. If you heard that snap, now we will look at the deck. And you can see that we have successfully attached the pad driver. Now, if you want to take the pad driver off, you will simply hit this button here. Now, if you look at the deck, you will notice that the pad driver has been successfully removed. And I'm just going to back this up here so you can see that we have removed the pad driver. This is your recovery tank. You simply lift the lid up. Here gives you access to all the dirty water solution that you have picked up. It's completely reachable to get in any debris or larger things that might have found their way in here. This is very important for the vac motor of the machine. This is called a float shutoff. So if too much water enters the recovery tank, there's a ping pong ball in here that will rise as the water levels rise. It will change the audible of the machine, letting the operator know they have to empty the recovery tank. Under no circumstances should this machine ever operate if this is missing. You can simply just screw this on to attach it. So here we're going to look at the rear of the machine. You have your recovery drain hose. So the dirty water you picked up, this is how you will empty the dirty water. The vacuum squeegee, when you lower this, that lowers the squeegee. And then when you come up to the control panel to turn the vac motor on, now this will actually vacuum as you move the machine forward. Simply turn it off. There is going to be a slight pause for the vacuum motor to shut off because that's picking up what we call kind of the snail water that might be a little bit left behind. So they leave the vacuum on to recover that extra water so there's no slip or trips or hazards like that. Coming back down here to the rear of the machine, you have resettable circuit breakers. You have an area to lift the cap and plug in your onboard charger. Down here, we have the brush deck lever. That's how you raise and lower the brush. You have your entire squeegee assembly. It can simply be removed with the two wing nuts. Now this particular squeegee assembly uses the clamp system. So when you open this clamp up, you can easily change the rear squeegee. The front squeegee blade, you have two knobs. One here, one here. You simply loosen those, which will release the pressure from this clamp, and you can remove the front squeegee. To reinstall, simply line your wing nuts up and tighten. We want fingertip tightness. We don't want this to be completely tightened. In the event you would catch the corner of a wall, you actually want this squeegee to break off and fall off the machine. That prevents any damage to the machine. Over time, the squeegee assembly will require some leveling. That's what this red knob is here in the back. This will help you self-adjust the squeegee system to ensure that you have constant contact to the squeegee and 100% water recovery. How to drain the clean water. We never recommend leaving water inside the tank with chemicals. We do suggest that you empty both the recovery tank and the solution tank when you're done. One thing to be aware of on this machine, when you have to empty the clean water tank, when you unscrew this cap, all the water is going to come out. So it's very important you have this in an area that either has a floor drain, perhaps you're outside, so on and so forth. Now, depending on the area of the country you live in, some people have harder water than others, which is really bad for machines. It can clog the plumbing. Here's what you call a solution filter. So if your machine is not putting water out and everything else is functioning, chances are you might have a clog here. You could simply remove this. Again, water is going to come out, so be safe with where you're doing this at. You could take this off. There's a little mesh filter in there that you can run under warm water. If it's really corroded, you can soak it in a vinegar solution to get that calcification off. So it's a very simple startup process. You get your pad driver on. You lower the deck. You set your speed on the dial. For newer operators, we suggest starting a little slower. Set your water output. Lower your squeegee assembly. Turn your vac motor on. And you are cleaning. When you're done with your area, lift your squeegee up, turn your vac motor off, and you're good to go.